Okay, everybody, Christopher Leon Johnson here. So, heading to City Hall right now. Happy Thursday, the 5th of December of 2024. So, we're like the second to last stated of 2024. So it's past, I think it's about 3 o'clock right now, almost 3 o'clock. I'm not exactly sure the time. I'm gonna see the MetroCard machine, what time it is. But I'm in my press capacity right now, And what's happening today, a little late, but I was tired, I was asleep. I had to take a second shower. And I'm heading to City Hall because today, right now, it's live streamed on, so it's 319. Right now, live streamed on the City Council website and the city YouTube and Twitter, or they call it X, and on Facebook. Right now, it's a stated Thursday meeting, and it's a special stated because today is the day that the members of the city council, including the mayor's right there, the mayor's there, and they go to decide, will the city yes go through or the city yes will die. So the city yes component that everybody's trying to fight and get it pushed through, or where it dies today, pertains to housing. So with this, it gives developers full reign to do what they want in certain districts, in all the districts, with no community input. Basically like that. They could upzone things and downzone things and rezone things without community input. So heading to City Hall right now. Got my press pass on. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me, please. And stated. Stated. Oh, my bad. Yeah. Thank you. So yeah. Make you keep it on. Hello, sir. Hello. Doing good. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So yeah, so there's a lot of people. I told you a lot of people on that floor. So basically, welcome to City Council. The 5th of December. Today is stated Thursday. The second to last stated before the new year, and so. You put it like that. They prepared for a press conference, by the way. Let me go up this. What's up, man? Chill again. So that's the special events guy that story.
That is why our goal today, colleagues, to overhaul the city's need to enable the creation of a little more housing in every neighborhood, paired with $5 billion in investments that our speaker negotiated on this council's behalf, is so important. Our actions here today will aid tens of thousands of New Yorkers. Colleagues, I urge you to think big picture as you pass your votes today. The no vote is no to $5 billion for more deeply affordable housing vouchers stabilizing over 20,000 families, expanded homeownership opportunities, stabilization of rental allowance infrastructure, neighborhood planning, all secured by our speaker. A no vote is no to 80,000 more homes in the next 10 years. This isn't about any one of us as individuals or even our own political calculus. It isn't even about the community that we might represent. A yes vote today is a vote for all New Yorkers. I want to thank all of our advocates, to our speaker for your extraordinary leadership in getting us to this point, and to all the staff who worked to get City of Yes and City for All to the point it is today. Colleagues, let's do the right thing. And I will mention that I have 3 bills that are also companion bills to City of Yes. 1127-28, make accessory dwelling units safer for all, and 654 reestablishes the J51 tax incentives, which will save 166,000 families living in our co-ops and condos across the city thousands of dollars each year so they can pay their homes. Thank you so much, Majority Leader.
Recognizing Councilmember Brewer, followed by General Livings.
Thank you very much. This particular City of Yes doesn't impact a huge amount, really developed areas like the Upper West Side. But what it does is it brings, as we heard earlier, housing to all different communities and makes a difference. When different people are mixing in communities, it makes our city a much stronger place. So it's about the people. You get an apartment and it's part of a community and you're different. That is a positive in my board. Number 2, I would reconsider about preservation. This City of Yes plus the funding does address preservation.
You just giving them the right to do whatever they want.
About 3 large buildings right now.
Non-profits we have here. These are non-profits. Look at these faces.
Number 3 is I feel strongly that these regulations should not stymie the continuation of the work that the Landmarks Preservation Commission does in the future. We should keep that in mind. I want to mention that just the other day I released the fact that on the Upper West Side, like 20 or 30 block area, the bad news.
They having a press conference later after this. The mayor downstairs, Rotunda. The mayor. They went away for that. I think after this they're gonna celebrate. Downstairs. They're gonna celebrate. So might as well eat. After they do this, they're gonna celebrate. All these fuckers gonna celebrate. After this, they're gonna pass it. They're gonna celebrate. But we're gonna wait downstairs for that. We're gonna wait for that. After. The guy that you got into it, the one that threatened you, he's out. No, the one that threatened you, little smug special guy. Yeah, he was down there. He's telling me what's up.
Quiet, please. Recognizing Councilmember General, followed by Banks and everyone.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. I think the Speaker did a great job in talking about it. I got 2 bills. One for sewer backups. I think the Speaker covered that.
Today's the 5th, so
8.5A about the flooding maps. Just a little more detail. There are 2 separate maps. One is the coastal flood map. We know about the need for that from Sandy, and also so-called the inland flood hazard area maps. Those are critical for the very intense rainstorms that we get now. So it's 2 separate mapping initiatives that will provide great benefit, particularly with the inland flood areas. Because heavy rains, this was happening. It will help inform the DB stormwater management plan, and also critical for today. It will be the inland flood mapping maps and the information it provides will be a very important resource for mapping the appropriate and safe placement of ADUs. So there are many applications to these maps, and together these both represent a proactive approach in dealing with growing impacts on climate change and severe storms in the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Recognizing Councilmember Banks, followed by Ariola.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. It's not enough just to say that New York City is in a housing crisis. The real crisis is regarding the lack of affordability and the pathways to home ownership. My district has seen an increase in affordable housing over the last 15 years, but it still remains nearly impossible for my constituents to become homeowners. Homeownership is the cornerstone of stability, community building, social engagement, and fostering economic growth in our community. Unfortunately, the City of Yes plan does little to ensure the future of housing will be affordable and offers no meaningful solution to improve homeownership. Most importantly, my vote today reflects the wishes of my constituents. Time and time again, I hear from my constituents that they need more parking. While I appreciate the efforts made during the negotiations to protect parking requirements, I must echo the concerns of my constituents that the increased development will further strain already limited parking. City of Yes lacks the nuance to avoid harm in my district, which, despite being home to multiple subway lines, it is also filled with transportation deserts, making cars necessary. All 4 community boards in my district disapproved of this proposal. The people I represent and serve has made it clear in their opposition. My constituents fear the proposal would irreparably change the character of their neighborhoods, opening the floodgates for developers to build and construct with no concern for their interests, and destroy generations and families that will be uprooted and the years of rich history that will be erased. Voters sent me to City Hall to listen to them, and I'm listening to them.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Councilmember Arreola, followed by
That's listening to the
Councilmember
people.
Williams.
That's listening. Not to the nonprofits.
In Queens
That's
County,
listening. You heard
12
that?
out of 14
That's listening to the people.
community boards voted against the City of Yes. So a no vote is not against housing, affordable housing for all. It is a no
knows he can't
against
vote it out.
long-term consequences for the people of this city. It is a no against virtually unchecked buildings and allowances, and for the renewal, and a no against community lack of input, as well as our lack of input on massive developments in neighborhoods that we represent. It is a no because we don't need to push our infrastructure past the breaking point. It is a no against chaos. It is a no for districts like mine who are flood-prone neighborhoods that already lack vital infrastructure. The City of Yes will only add to the heavy burdens residents face every day. Even in the worst case scenario, it can create life-threatening situations during weather emergencies. But just on moon tides in my community, we would be absolutely underwater. We don't have the infrastructure, and I know that the mayor has promised money for infrastructure. But why are we putting the cart before the horse? Why are we putting the housing up and then worrying about the infrastructure? We need to have the infrastructure in place before we build the housing. That's what's important. I appreciate the work that the Speaker's office and my colleagues did, and the land use division. I appreciate the fact that modifications were made. But I can't go on a what if when my constituents, like Councilmember Banks said, are telling me we don't trust the system. We don't want the character of our neighborhoods to change. We do want more affordability. So I strongly urge my colleagues to support future legislation that I will be introducing, which would exempt flood zones and inland flooding areas from the City of Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. I'd now like to recognize Councilmember Williams, followed by Clark.
Thank you. Today we face a defining moment for our city. A moment to choose bold action to address a housing crisis that is squeezing families, stifling opportunity, and holding New Yorkers back. Let me start by saying this. I heard you. I heard the concerns about maintaining the character of our neighborhoods and balancing growth incrementally with fairness. That's why I work tirelessly with Speaker Adams, the admin, community leaders, and my colleagues to ensure that the City of Yes for Housing Opportunity is not just a policy, but a promise. This promise says we can tackle rate of just 1.41%, the lowest since 1968, and half of renters burdened by skyrocketing rents. But it also says we can do it responsibly, with our communities at the heart of every decision. Over the past months, I convened many focus groups in Southeast Queens to dig into the original proposal. Based on that feedback, we fought for and secured key amendments to protect the character of our neighborhoods. For example, parking requirements for larger buildings and lower density districts of my council district will remain unchanged, because cars are a necessity in our transit desert. Accessory dwelling units have been scaled back, ensuring that detached ADUs don't overwhelm our communities, and any homeowner adding one must live on site to maintain our home ownership culture. We even refined the scope of town center and transit-oriented development near low-density neighborhoods to avoid overburdening infrastructure near Long Island Railroad stations. These revisions matter. They show that the City of Yes doesn't mean yes at any cost. It means yes to thoughtful, balanced growth. And with the council securing $5 billion for housing-related investments and home ownership opportunities, including $2 billion for sewer infrastructure, public space, and other infrastructure improvements, this plan is not just about zoning changes, it's a comprehensive strategy to meet the needs of New Yorkers. The families of Southeast Queens and all of New York deserve thriving communities that aren't overburdened. Thank you so much to the Land Use Division for all your hard work.
Recognizing Councilmember Carr, followed by Yeager and Feliz.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Colleagues, when I spoke at the subcommittee on zoning convention items a couple of weeks ago on City of Yes, I talked a lot about the fact that the public will of so many of our constituents was being ignored in the City of Yes, that our infrastructure needs were already not being met at current levels of development, and that we had an opportunity to do more housing the right way that was respectful of neighborhood character. And having spoken about that and knowing that other colleagues are doing and will do the same here today, I want to focus a little bit on what I believe to have been the insufficient environmental review that this administration did with respect to City of Yes. At the hearing we held on October 21st, the administration testified in response to my questioning that this is a text amendment, not a mapping amendment, and the environmental review was done accordingly. But I believe that City of Yes is a mapping amendment masquerading as a text amendment. It is a mapping action. And therefore, the environmental review was not done. City of Yes seeks to change minimum lot sizes across residential districts, especially in R1s. It's seeking to map transit-oriented development zones across our city without actually changing the underlying zoning. This is a mapping action in all but name. And that's why I believe that this text amendment, so-called, is incredibly vulnerable to legal action. And I believe that this environmental review does not even get to scrape the top of the iceberg with how many housing units it will actually create, far more than the 109,000 plus that it capped out at according to the study. So I believe that this text amendment will not survive a legal challenge and what is likely to be forthcoming. And I just want to remind colleagues that we still have an opportunity to disapprove. The only thing that's off the table here today are new modifications. So let's vote down City of Yes, and then one of us can put forward a motion to disapprove after we're successful. I urge my colleagues to vote no. Thank you.
Now, please. Recognizing Councilmember Yeager, followed by Feliz, then Ayala.
Thank you, Madam President. Whatever this body does, one size fits all rules today. Whatever the topic is, whether it's sanitation, whether it's zoning, this city is too large, too complicated, too complex, too diverse, too underdeveloped in some places, too overdeveloped in others, for us to do a one-size-fits-all plan for the top of the Bronx and Bronx Staten Island. It just can't be done. And it's irresponsible and lazy to tell New Yorkers that we can't. And we do that frequently, not just on this topic, but on many topics. On planning roads, on planning bike lanes, planning sanitation. We do it all the time. We really shouldn't. I think the city should treat it like that.
Never know.
A lot's been said here in this body and this floor today and the last couple of days and weeks about this great gift of $5 billion. This phantom $5 billion. Not
Sorry, man. Sorry, man.
Granted, $5 billion that's not $1 planned for the city's budget, not $1 planned for the state's budget. $5 billion promise.
$1 billion of
Promise that $5 today, and I'm glad to pay you next year, Tuesday. There is not a single penny planned for. But we are guaranteeing that we will pass this. You can't get your vote back. Understand, college, you cannot get your vote back. You vote for this, that $5 billion isn't there, magically becomes $2 billion. You don't get to come back here and say, give me my vote back. It's one-time chance to do it right. As Councilmember Carr said, you have a chance to vote this down, vote down the modification, send it back to city planning. We can do a plan that we disapprove this one, vote for an actual plan that does this in a real way, and does it in conjunction with the city budget so that we can actually achieve the monies that we think we're getting. And I urge my colleagues to do that. I also wish to associate myself with the remarks of Councilmember Banks. They are wise, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Madam President.
Recognizing Councilmember Feliz, followed by Deputy Speaker Ayala, and Councilmember.
Gotta give him a standing ovation.
Thank you, Majority Leader. For years and years and years, our city has been in a housing crisis.
Yes, Dave.
A housing crisis with real effects on New Yorkers, including cramped apartments, housing instability, and even worse, homelessness. We can only resolve this housing crisis by making it easy to build, removing obstacles that get in the way and preventing homes
It's
from
our
being
own
built.
people's
That's
voice.
exactly
Our
what we're
own
doing
people.
today.
That council's for the blacks,
Building
Puerto
housing
Ricans,
should not be challenging,
Americans.
shouldn't be difficult. We must think about every highly restricted and overly complicated rule that gets in the way of us getting out of this housing crisis. This city of Yes is a great start. It's not perfect, but it's a great start and it goes a long way. I proudly represent District 15 in the Bronx, which has proudly built some of the largest amounts of affordable housing in the entire city. But as we all know, District 15 cannot resolve this housing crisis alone. So, encourage everybody to vote yes. I want to congratulate all of my colleagues, including Speaker Adams. As we all know, Speaker Adams is a tough, principled, and effective negotiator. So congratulations, Speaker Adams, and everybody else. Also, before I conclude, just want to emphasize how proud I am of the many homeownership opportunities included in this bill. When New Yorkers move up that climate ladder, they want to own their own home. And if New York City does not offer those opportunities, we're going to lose these New Yorkers to other nearby cities and states. We should want to keep these New Yorkers and reinvest in them. And that's exactly what we're doing today, including $41 million for down payment assistance programs, creation of new Mitchell Allowance programs, and many other initiatives. So very proud, and I'm strongly encouraging everybody to vote yes on the City of Yes.
Thank you. Recognizing Deputy Speaker.
Feliz is selling out the Bronx.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to say a few words about my vote to approve the City of Yes for housing opportunities. Housing is a fundamental pillar of safety and stability for our city and its neighborhoods. It unlocks the ability for people to pursue opportunity, something that I know personally from my own experiences of homelessness and housing insecurity. This plan was the result of listening to the needs of everyday New Yorkers who are facing growing housing and economic pressures. We've heard from working families and residents who are struggling to find a home, to afford rent, or costs to maintain their homes, and in some cases, to live with the dignified conditions that we all deserve. As part of our negotiations, the council secured $5 billion in commitments for our City of All housing plan that will benefit our communities and entire city. New Yorkers are relying on us to deliver this investment. We cannot fail them. As council members representing all corners of this diverse city, we see, hear, and feel the impact of this housing crisis. We know, whether it's from our constituents or even our own family members, how hard it is now for New Yorkers to make ends meet. Too many of the hundreds of thousands of residents living in NYCHA do not have their apartments maintained at the level of quality that they deserve to be safe. Many New Yorkers are unhoused or in the brink of homelessness and other actively pressed on values that can help them gain stability. That is why I will push for a comprehensive housing plan to help alleviate many of the challenges that the zoning cannot address now. Working alongside New Yorkers, we put forward a plan to deliver greater housing security, deeper affordability, and the neighborhood investments needed. I am especially proud that our City for All plan prioritizes funding to support our public housing budget. We were able to secure $2 billion in additional capital investments that support repairs of 90 tenant apartments and make the 5,000 vacant public apartments available to New Yorkers. The The funding will also support increased affordable housing development and preservation of privately managed apartment buildings, including Mitchell-Lamas and HDFCs. I am also, I'm sorry, it's a point of privilege as Deputy Speaker to finish my remarks. I am also that we will deliver.
Please wrap your Deputy Speaker, we appreciate it.
I would ask again for a point of privilege. I never requested.
They're getting serious with this.
But I'm also excited, I'm wrapping up. I'm also excited that we will deliver the $400 million in funding to city vouchers, including for use in buildings converted from homeless shelters to permanently affordable housing. We cannot forget the $2 billion infrastructure investments that we were able to secure, which will go towards the unnecessary improvements for flood mitigation of our stormwater drainage and sewer systems, street upgrades, and open spaces. All of these investments will have tangible lasting impact on our communities and New Yorkers, and we cannot afford to throw away this generational opportunity. With the City of All Housing Plan, we are all investing in the people of our city. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Hudson, followed by Ostay, and then Hanks.
Thank you, Majority Leader, and good afternoon all. Today's vote on the City of Yes zoning for housing opportunity is certainly a controversial one, but the reality is that some communities are doing their part to address the housing crisis, and others are not, and that's the real controversy. While every neighborhood and district is different, we can't keep relying on the South Bronx, Western Queens, or Northern and Central Brooklyn alone to build us out of this crisis. We need everyone to do their part. This first of its kind citywide text amendment does the bare minimum in creating more opportunities to build housing, including the deeply affordable housing this body so passionately cares about. It gives communities and developers alike new options to consider when planning a new project. And let me be clear, these options are just that, options. Nothing considered in this zoning text amendment requires developers or homeowners to build anything. But with City of Yes, we create an option for more affordable housing units via universal affordability preference,
That's okay.
an option to remove unnecessary and costly parking mandates that could create a financially feasible pathway to increase affordability beyond MIH, and an option to build ADUs that can provide older family members the opportunity to age in place.
Cool.
In my experience, the people who complain most about housing proposals are those who have housing.
You don't want to live in
If
the
we don't
district.
maximize our
The migrants
opportunities to
kill you.
build, rents will only continue to rise and push out long-time community residents, especially older Black and brown New Yorkers who live on fixed incomes. I'd like to commend the Speaker, her staff, and especially the Planning and Land Use Division for securing $5 billion for more deeply affordable housing and homeownership opportunities, infrastructure investments, and tenant protections.
It's dead ass packed.
Thank you.
Really packed. They're not playing around.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I wasn't going to speak today, but I've been hearing a lot of statements from some people, not all people, about their opposition to this. It's wild to hear those same people who are pushing back against the development of new homes are the same people who aren't even against rent stabilization, good cause eviction, banning forced broker fees, and a plethora of other initiatives that keep affordability or protect affordability here in this city. Let's talk about the facts. Over the past 40 years, the city has added more jobs than we have homes. The vacancy rate, as we've heard today, is at 1.4%. I represent Bed-Stuy, where I saw the largest displacement of Black people and an influx of new residents compared to every other community within the city. When people are moving into our city to apply and work in those new jobs that we've added, they're competing for the same homes of working class New Yorkers, of workers who are working for New York City, which adds to the skyrocketing in our rent. What we're doing here today is not easy, but it's necessary. We need to build in this city, we need to build affordability in the city, we need rent stabilization in the city, we need so much more to protect the working class New Yorkers that exist within the 5 boroughs. Every single community needs to do their part, and the Speaker's assistance here and pushing a City for All plan and adding $5 billion, that's a lot of money, to go towards affordable housing development, to go towards infrastructure development is a necessary step, not the end-all be-all, but a necessary step in putting us where we need to be and making the city affordable. We cannot, as a body in government, sit idle and let the city become more and more unaffordable because of those who have continued to say no for decades.
Thank you, Councilmember. And now I'm recognizing Councilmember Hanks, followed by Bed-Stuy.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I'd like to also associate my comments with my colleague, Councilmember Banks. The City of Yes, or Housing Opportunities, set out to be a solution for our city's housing and zoning changes. However, it falls short of achieving its stated goals in boroughs like Staten Island, as it fails to adequately address the unique needs of boroughs like my own. So if you ask me to come up with a plan that provides 5,000 plus units of housing, which includes over 30% of affordable units, I can provide that to you. It's not a matter of not doing our part. In this housing crisis, it's about doing our part with respect of our districts and our individual needs. And so, our borough's unique infrastructure, flood zone prone areas, limited public transportation, a lot of this plan just doesn't go far enough. And I want to express my gratitude to the civic associations, urban planners, builders, advocates, builders associations that added their invaluable insights and make sure that Staten Island's voice is heard. I was 27 years old when I purchased my home. 27. I have 2 children living at home, regrettably, over the age of 23 that I would love to move out, making over $55,000 a year. Does the City of Yes address the affordability issue so we can produce the next generation of home ownership? But homeowners should not be discriminated against because we've purchased our homes or we live in boroughs that are not Manhattan, not the Bronx, and not Brooklyn. So I want to commend the affordability and home ownership incentives that the Speaker, Adrienne Adams, has done in her leadership in ensuring that the affordable housing modifications were made in this proposal. But as I am 2 parts an advocate, I am a representative, and this is what my constituents asked me to do. So vote no.
Recognizing Councilmember Ressler, followed by Marquez.
Thank you so much, Madam Majority Leader. Mayors, their administrations, they can propose whatever they want. But it is up to this council, the City Council, to determine what laws are adopted, what zoning changes are made.
Be back.
This body recognizes the extreme housing emergency and affordability crisis that our city is facing. Thanks to the tremendous leadership of our Speaker, Adrienne Adams, we are embracing a plan to expand housing in every neighborhood across New York City. And thanks to the tremendous leadership of Speaker Adrienne Adams, we are accomplishing so much more. This zoning modification, when adopted by the council, will ensure we create truly affordable housing through the Speaker's City for All plan. The Speaker negotiated a historic $5 billion investment in new affordable housing. This is actually affordable for families, tenant protections, improvements in NYCHA, and infrastructure investments to meet the needs of our communities, and so much more. My district has resulted in this plan.
The time is Yeah, I got you. You close it, all right? I don't know this one. All right. All right, put second. Let's do second forward. They doing rehearsal. Nope. Hey, what's up? Sorry about that.
To make it on the backs of those people. We are saying yes to a plan that the mayor created, a mayor who's embedded with corruption scandals. We're saying yes to what he wants to do to our city. The shadows of this time have cast over our city, and it isn't just literal. Today, they darken the future of our most risked neighborhoods. But tomorrow, the fight against displacement will continue. Working people will continue to light their way, to organize against eviction, to unify around community plans like the Chinatown Working Group Plan. Just as there has always been backdoor deals broken in darkness, there will always be neighbors organizing to fight for a brighter future. Thank you.
Skip this. Hey, what's up?
I would like to thank Super Adams, my colleagues, Chair Salamanca, Chair Riley, Councilmember
No, I had to speak to somebody. Had to take a call.
for engaging in days of public testimony and negotiating a package of needs of everyday New Yorkers who desperately deserve the opportunity for dignified housing. The revisions put forth by the council shape a more inclusive plan while accompanying the proposal with financial support to preserve existing affordable housing.
You don't know this.
Housing is the #1 need in District 10, the community that I represent, with over 90% of our constituent cases that come into our office concerning housing in some capacity or another. We are witnessing the stark reality that 1 in 8 public school students are unhoused or lack permanent housing options. We have a choice today, a choice to make a difference. Every day we work to support families displaced by fires, struggling to find a home in a time of crisis, homeless students lacking safe after-school accommodations, and families cramped into apartments on the verge of losing their own homes. We repeatedly in District 10 have arrested the worst landlord on the worst landlord list, who has made it impossible for tenants to live in the buildings he owns through sheer neglect. We take this housing crisis seriously. The work doesn't stop today, it merely begins. In District 10, we all remember the Inwood rezoning. After a traumatic process, there were hard-fought concessions that were put in place to protect parts of Inwood's current zoning. Those protections will remain in place under this city for all proposal. While I have heard the concerns about the depth of affordability, metrics like the universal affordability preferences and area median incomes will not always match our community's financial realities. But we are fighting to stop displacement caused by predatory market forces. This means that the challenges are met by the $5 billion to secure tenant protections, legal support to fight harassment, preservation, and vouchers across the district. No single policy will solve the complex housing issues and the deep systematic barriers that exist. But we must act. And today I look forward to joining this council in acting so that we can make a reality the city for all. Thank you.
Thank you. And now let's recognize Councilmember Holden.
Let me see your phone. Let me see your charger.
Threatens to change the very character of too many communities in New York City, particularly in Queens.
Like the new one, USB. The USB.
Voted against the city of Yes. Now, as a 30-year member of the Community Board of 5 in Queens, I know the neighborhoods in and out because I've done my work as a volunteer. And I also did my work as mapping the entire community in our zoning adjustments in the 1980s and in the early 2000s. I went door to door, and we had 75 volunteers that went around to protect the housing stock, to protect going in our backyards and able to feel the sun on our faces. It's so important that it's not a one-size-fits-all, like was mentioned by my colleagues, Councilmember Banks, Marte, and Yeager. This is something that threatens the very character of our neighborhood, and it's really egregious that we're turning over many of the decisions to developers. So most of our accomplishments will be totally eliminated. So the city of Yes is a developer's dream and a neighborhood nightmare. This is all this is. And a guarantee of $5 billion is just again, it's not worth the paper that it's printed on. So it's really, like my colleague, Councilman Yeager says, monopoly money. Let's not give away our vote. Let's turn down the city of yes, because it's really a rush job for developers. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Arvegu.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Today's vote isn't about achieving anyone's perfect vision. It's about realizing a shared one. This bill isn't exactly what any of us might have drafted on, but that's the beauty of democracy. Negotiation, compromise, and progress.
You don't have it?
And progress is exactly what this represents.
Somewhere.
What we're voting on today isn't just a policy, it's a lifeline. A $5 billion commitment to affordable housing and infrastructure is not just transformative, it's historic. New York City is in the midst of a housing crisis, and the urgency couldn't be clearer. Too many of our neighbors are teetering on the edge, trying to make impossible choices between rent, groceries, and other essentials. This proposal takes a step toward ensuring that every New Yorker can have what we all deserve, the stability and dignity of an affordable home. By passing this plan, we are building a stronger, fairer, and more inclusive city, one that truly meets the needs of its people and prioritizes their well-being. I commend Speaker Adams and her extraordinary team for their vision, leadership, and hard work in delivering this landmark achievement for our city. For these reasons, I urge my colleagues to vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else signed up to speak, I now call on Speaker Adams to close the discussion of general orders.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Hearing all of my colleagues and the feedback on this unprecedented legislation that we're voting on today. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. This council, and my colleagues have heard me say this before.
Got it?
This council cannot be the body that says no to people that need a place to live. It is our responsibility as elected representatives, respecting our districts, as diverse and unique as each one is, to represent our districts as well as the entire city of New York.
Gaslighting you.
All of the good
Use your color against you.
with the bad and everything in between. We are to represent our entire constituency with the respect and dignity that they all deserve.
That was the whole city.
I don't know about you, but I'm tired of the homelessness rate going up.
Yeah, right. Bullshit.
I am tired of my community going south because their city is unaffordable for them to live in. I am tired of watching daily people on the brink of eviction and other means of losing their homes, as one of my colleagues said, not have another place to look forward to moving into because it's just not affordable. We cannot do nothing. We cannot do nothing. This proposal, when it was delivered to us, certainly was not perfect. It was not perfect months ago. It is definitely not perfect today. But the modifications put forth by the efforts of this council and members of this city who sat in these chambers for almost 15 hours under the leadership of Chair Kevin Riley to give their thoughts, their opinions, their tears, their blood, their sweat, their thoughts and their opinions to this body, to compile the modifications and help us to deliver the product that we are delivering today. This is not the proposal that was delivered to us, as some of my colleagues have presented and think that this is the proposal that was presented to us. We have created modifications that will create a city for all. This cannot be the council that turns their back on homeless. This cannot be the council that turns their back and continues to say, scrap it, let's move ahead, let's do something else, because I tell you that will never happen. It hasn't happened in 20 years, and it's not gonna happen today if we say no to people that need some place to live and are looking for this body to deliver it. It is incumbent upon us to do our due diligence to the people of this city, the people that are looking to us to be their leaders. And I know that advancing solutions to these difficult problems certainly isn't easy, but it definitely becomes possible.
You're a bullshitter. You are a bullshitter. That's what you are. You're bullshitting the people. Bullshitter. Bullshitter. We say no to City of Yes.
There will be no interruptions.
You setting up people of
from the
color.
gallery.
You are setting up
Please
people of
be
color.
quiet as you are moving out and
Say
being
no to City
removed
of
from the
Yes.
floor.
Take back New York City. Because you're a bullshitter. We say it to your face. Absolute bullshit. They're gonna sue and stop it. Bullshitters. Say no to City of Yes. Say no. Lock me up, motherfucker. Lock me up. Puerto Rican, blacks, Asians, our own fucking people. It's our own fucking people. Our own people. Say no to the City of Yes. Say no to the City of Yes.
So any departed comments? Any departed comments?
City of Yes is bullshit. You heard Yeager. What Yeager said, that's what you should do. That's what you should do. In that city council, it's our own people selling us out. Blacks, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Asians, they're gaslighting us. They want you to believe it's white supremacy. $2,000 rent is not affordable. Chris Banks, he did the right thing. He says no. He listened to his district. See, the speaker, she says, it's the whole city. They flip-flop. Today they speak for their district. Tomorrow they speak for the whole city. They bullshitting you. You say no to City of Yes. That's a plan by the mayor of New York, who has been indicted. If you had half a brain, you would at least pause it. But no, they want to push a plan by a mayor who's under indictment.
So you need a coffee?
She's a governor. You said Rivera said that she's a shit governor. He's a shit governor.
All right, I'm about to bounce out, bro. No, wait, you're your charger, bro. Your charger. I gotta go back inside. I didn't disrupt, so they can't. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I didn't disrupt anything, so not my problem.
Post that shit.
I got you, bro.
I got her, though.
All right, man.
She shit her pants.
I'm back inside. Oh, okay.
We say no to the City of Yes! Take back New York!
Okay, guys. That was hilarious.
He's spotting it right now.
see us through this process and Councilman Riley for sitting days of hearings, and of course to my predecessor and friend Dan Garage and his team for all their amazing work here as well. And Kyle, we vote yes, and look forward to seeing this in action in the future.
Abreu. Aye. Ariola.
Permission to explain my vote? Permission granted. First, I'd like to disclose for the record on the transparency resolution that my son works for DSNY. I'd like to speak to the Corp Counsel nominee. In her capacity as acting Corp Counsel and prior as the managing attorney for Corp Counsel, Muriel Gautreau-Font has held back hundreds of experienced and extremely qualified firefighters, teachers, police officers, and sanitation workers, and thousands of other city workers from returning to their jobs that they love after they won court cases, and she continues to unlawfully have them removed from their jobs. Time and time again, lawsuits against the city have been won by city workers who refuse to take the COVID vaccine due to medical or religious reasons, and time again, Trufant, following in the steps of her predecessor, Sylvia Hines Radix, has continued to waste taxpayer dollars on appeals instead of giving the workers the court-ordered back pay and allowing them to regain their livelihoods. In her own words, Ms. Trufant stated that at her confirmation hearing that she wanted to make certain that should the city have another pandemic like we had with COVID, that we would be able to keep the whole public safe. This means that she would be more than willing to impose lockdowns and mandates, which have been dispelled by former Commissioner Ashwin Vasan himself, and it has been proven that it was ineffective and admittedly a political weapon rather than a public safety measure. It's time to end the politicizing of families and their careers. Under Trufant's leadership, this will not happen. For these reasons, I cannot support her confirmation, and I urge my colleagues to do the same. Therefore, I'm a no on land use item 181, City of Yes, intro 1127A and 1128A, M79, and accompanying Reso 688, and an aye on the rest. Thank you.
Aviles.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Today we're voting on City of Yes for housing opportunity, and after significant back and forth with the administration, I will be casting a yes vote today. While the mayor, through his initial proposal, failed to create a sufficient plan for affordable housing, I am proud to have worked alongside my colleagues and Speaker Adams to ensure significant capital investments through our City for All package. My vote today is an acknowledgement of the $2 billion committed to maintaining our parks and public infrastructure, an acknowledgement of the $2 billion allocated to affordable housing preservation and development, and of the 187, for the commitment to expand city FEPS that will create additional housing for our homeless neighbors, and the $200 million commitment to reduce vacancy rates in NYCHA. While this is a major win for the council, I want to acknowledge that this is only a piece of the work we need to continue to engage in to create a more just and livable city for working class New Yorkers. I will continue to fight on behalf of my constituents to ensure that they and their families can grow and prosper in our communities without fear of displacement. Thank you, Speaker Adams, and with that, I vote aye.
Ayala.
I vote aye.
Banks.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
This has been an extremely tough vote when it comes to LU 181 Resolution 689. However, my vote today will be a no on the text resolution. But it's not an objection to housing. It's a call for us as lawmakers and the administration to go back to the drawing board and tackle the issues with a more nuanced, community-based approach. Of course, the city needs more housing, but the housing should reflect the wishes of the communities that are already here, the ones we represent, and not cater to desires of outside interests and their idea of what the city should look like. Affordable housing crisis is not to be solved by, should not be solved by a one-size-fits-all approach. The neighborhoods I represent each have their own unique needs and challenges, and my constituents have made it clear that they do not want to see their communities fundamentally change without real consideration for their input. I want to emphasize that I appreciate the support and commitments that were given in the City for All, and I applaud my fellow council members, Land Use, Speaker Adams, for their efforts in bringing about investments in critical aspects of the city, such as natural developments, Mitchell Lama, and pathways to home ownership, which are dear and near to me. However, I still cannot approve the city as text amendment number 3, as I believe that the zoning code's changes would be detrimental to my district. My constituents feel the same, and I must stand with them. I, on all except intro LU 181, resolution 689. Thank you.
Thank you. Botcher.
Congratulations, Speaker Adams, Chair Riley, and Sanchez. Aye on all.
Brennan.
Aye.
Brewer.
Aye.
Brooks Powers.
Permission to explain my vote.
Permission granted.
The City of Yes for Housing Opportunity has led to meaningful and much-needed conversations around housing disparities in our city. My community members have fought to protect the characteristics of the communities they have come to love and safeguard them from the climate risk and vulnerable infrastructure we see today. Thanks to their advocacy, the final proposal excludes ground floor and basement ADUs in coastal and inland flooding zones, limits the transit-oriented development radius near Long Island Railroad stations, and preserves full parking requirements in nearly all of our district, key safeguards for our communities. This proposal will enable more working-class families to access homeownership opportunities and therefore build generational wealth. It will help New Yorkers preserve their homes through homeownership assistance and access more affordable units across our city. Importantly, these negotiations have also secured much-needed commitments for investments in infrastructure and climate resiliency. For a district like the one I represent, which faces chronic flooding and crumbling infrastructure, these commitments will be important for ensuring that any future development is sustainable and equitable. These concessions were important to get me to where I am today. I would like to acknowledge the tireless work of Speaker Adams and her office, especially Jeremy John, Vice Ali, Paris Strada, and the entire Land Use Division throughout this process to craft a plan that better reflects the diverse needs of communities across our city. Today, I will vote yes, recognizing that while no plan is perfect, this amended version represents a step towards addressing our city's housing crisis while prioritizing the needs of our community. Thank you. And if it wasn't clear, I'll vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on.
Permission to explain my vote.
Permission granted.
Thank you. I want to take the time to give everyone who worked so hard on this their flowers. Thank you, Speaker, the Speaker's team, Council Land Use, Council Finance, Councilmember Sanchez, and everyone else who threw down to fight for City of Yes and the City for All commitments. This is an important step towards ending the housing crisis in all of our backyards. Today's vote is for City of Yes and New York's housing crisis is dire, and going forward, we're going to need to do more of that. We need social housing in all of our backyards. Yes, we need some higher density housing in all of our backyards. We need supportive housing in all of our backyards. Let's keep building, preserving, rehabilitating, and individualizing housing for every New Yorker. Our goal is and should be a home for every New Yorker, no matter who you are, no matter what your needs are, no matter your circumstances. So today I vote aye on all. Thank you.
Carr.
Permission to explain my vote.
Permission granted.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I just want to take a few minutes to also talk about the appointment of Muriel Good-Trufant as the next Corporation Counsel. My colleague, Councilmember Arreola, spoke articulately about the issues concerning the separation of some of our city workers and the failure of them to be returned to office. Unfortunately, she has been one of the main obstacles to their return, and these are good civil servants. But on top of that, she has articulated some other standards that I think are troubling. One of them we heard about earlier today, which is with respect to IESPs for non-public school students. She seems to be one of the architects of the current proposal, which would essentially force parents to give up their children's rights in order to get services come January. Services they should have been getting and have been getting for years and should have been getting since the start of the academic year. And she's also articulated a troubling standard with respect to our constitutional rights, claiming that local laws and other acts of legislative bodies should only be struck down as unconstitutional if they can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that they violate the Constitution. Frankly, I think our constitutional rights should be a lot more accessible than that. And I think that's the standard that the courts in the state have applied, regardless of the parties of the judges who are sitting and hearing our cases. And so, unfortunately, she seems to be part of the effort to continue to appeal the non-citizen voting ruling, which is a plain text reading of the New York State Constitution, that voters in this state must be citizens. And so I think that those of us who care about our constitutional rights, particularly those that may have been recently added by a recent proposition, should hope for a more accessible standard from somebody who's going to be serving as our corporation counsel. And that's why I cannot support her nomination. And so with that said, I will be voting no on M79 with the accompanying resolution 688, LU 181 with the accompanying resolution 689, as well as introductions 1127A and 1128A, and I have the rest.
Thank you. Sanchez.
Ayano.
Thank you. De La Rosa.
Ayano.
Dinowitz.
I know the exception of LU 181 and resolution 689.
Feliz.
Permission to extend my vote.
Permission granted.
I want to congratulate Speaker Adams on this historical legislation. Speaker Adams also chairs Salamanca, Riley, Sanchez, and of course the Speaker's entire team, including Jeremy, Faiza, and everyone else. I've said it many times and I'll say it again. We in the Central Bronx, neighborhoods of Fordham Road, East Tremont, Belmont, we're proud of being the neighborhoods that have built some of the largest amount of affordable housing units in the entire city. We're proud of that, but we cannot resolve this housing crisis alone, and we shouldn't be expected to do so either. Every single community needs to help. Housing crisis affecting our city is a serious one, and of course every district is unique, but everybody needs to help. So
Thank you. Gennaro.
Vote aye on all with the exception of LU 181 and resolution 689, on which I vote no.
Hanif.
Permission to explain my vote.
Permission granted.
I vote aye on all. I am proud to vote aye on the City of Yes for Housing Opportunity proposal, which includes significant modifications secured by the council, including an unprecedented $5 million investment to fund the council's City for All housing plan. This transformative plan will help our city address the housing crisis that is pushing too many New Yorkers to the brink of displacement. The City of Yes for Housing Opportunity zoning changes will help alleviate the affordable housing shortage, while the comprehensive City for All investments will directly address the most immediate issues facing homeowners, renters, and those experiencing homelessness. Together with the implementation of the newly passed FAIR Act, these steps will make it easier for New Yorkers to lay down roots in all 5 boroughs. This milestone also reflects the lessons we learned from the Gowanus rezoning in my district. The targeted investments in deep affordability and neighborhood infrastructure, ranging from sewer and street upgrades to flood mitigation and new open spaces, will not only support equitable development, but also lay the foundation for sustainable and resilient growth across communities in our city. I want to thank Speaker Adams, my fellow council members, especially Council Members Sanchez and Ressler, whom I was proud to join in helping shape the final proposal, my constituents, and all the advocates who have worked tirelessly to bring us to this moment. I ran for City Council to be a pro-housing legislator, and I'm proud to deliver on that commitment today. Thank you.
Hanks.
I vote aye on all with the exception of the plan use item 181 with the accompanying reso 689.
Holden.
the exception of LU 181 and accompanying Reso 689, M79 and Reso 688, and intros 1127A and 1128A, to which I vote no.
Thank you. Hudson.
I know.
Thank you. Joseph.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today I cast my vote in favor of moving forward with the City Fall Housing Plan, a transformative step in addressing one of the most pressing crises with our city faces, housing. With $5 billion in commitment from the city alongside $1 billion funding from Governor Hochul and the state of New York, we are delivering on an unprecedented investment to ensure New York City becomes more affordable and accessible for all who call it home. This plan is not just about constructing new buildings, it's about constructing a better future for working and middle-class New Yorkers. City for All will produce over 80,000 new homes while deepening affordability, preserving existing housing, bolstering home ownership, and strengthening our neighborhood's infrastructure. But more than that, City of All is a testament to what we can achieve when we center our people in our policies and prioritize equity and sustainability in our growth. I've heard loud and clear the voices of those in my community who are concerned about the impact of these zoning changes will have on their neighborhoods. I remain committed to working with you to deliver on the promises. A little more housing everywhere, while defending the character of places where I grew up and where so many of us have invested so much. As someone deeply committed to the well-being of our communities and to my own district, I'm especially encouraged by the investment this plan makes to support tenants, protect homeowners, and improve NYCHA development, preserve the character of our neighborhoods, and more. These actions are not only essential to addressing immediate needs, but also laying the groundwork for long-term stability. The housing crisis we face is vast and complex. It demands ongoing attention, innovation, and collaboration. We must continue to push for policies that go beyond zoning reform and address the root causes of inequity in housing. This means doubling down on affordability, protecting tenants from harassment and displacement, and expanding pathways to homeownership. It means ensuring every community has the infrastructure, parks, schools, and transit system needed to grow sustainability. It means recognizing housing as a fundamental right and using every tool at our disposal to deliver on that promise. I thank all who worked on this. Thank you, Majority.
Thank you. I know. Thank you. Salamanca. I know.
Krishna. Permission to extend my vote?
Permission granted.
I want to commend Speaker Adams for her leadership in bringing City for All, working with our colleagues to bring this to a vote today, as well as commend my colleagues, Chairs Sanchez, Salamanca, and Riley, and the land use staff here for bringing City for All forward. This proposal, City for All as modified by the Council, reflects three fundamental principles. One, that the housing crisis we face is the most urgent crisis in the city because it connects to every other crisis around us. And it's important to address it thoughtfully, deliberately, and with the focus on affordability, which this plan does. Two, that in addressing the housing crisis, it's not enough just to create more housing, but to protect people in their homes. That's exactly what the funding for the Anti-Harassment Tenant Protection Program does. And as a legal services lawyer that worked, as one of the legal services lawyers that worked with city government to create this program 9 years ago, I know personally how important it is to keep tenants in their homes through this program and how it works to fight displacement. And three, that in the efforts to address the housing crisis, we must not create the false conflict between housing and green space. And as the Parks Chair, I see clearly how this City for All proposal does exactly that. Building housing, focusing on affordability, but not fostering a false conflict between that and green space. That's why I'll be voting for it. With that, I vote aye on all. Thank you.
Lee.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
So before I start, I just wanted to recognize the efforts of DCP, Chair Garodnick, his team, as well as our land use division for all their time and effort and energy into this proposal and for answering our many, many questions along the way. So thank you for that. And every neighborhood, just want to say, every neighborhood faces its unique challenges. I'd like to thank and commend Speaker Adams' efforts to address many of these challenges. While the most recent amendments to the City of Yes have alleviated some of my most dire concerns, there still remains issues that can significantly impact my parts of Queens, Eastern Queens, and other parts of the city. Passing this plan may result in unintended consequences, such as increasing housing density in transit deserts and areas with aging infrastructure. The proposal of ADUs like basement apartments and garage conversions will place further strains on areas that are not fit for additional density. Solving the housing and affordability crisis can only be done through equitable and fair measures that serve the unique needs of all New Yorkers. The decisions we make today in changing zoning will have impacts that will be felt for generations, and we must value the crucial and informative perspectives of the people and communities we have been elected to represent, and my communities have been very loud and clear. This is a complicated endeavor that requires more nuance, time, and thorough planning to incorporate the realities of our diverse neighborhoods throughout the city. So therefore, I'm voting no on LU 161, Reso 689, Intro 1127, and Intro 1128, and aye on all the rest.
Thank you. Lewis.
I want to commend Speaker Adams, Jeremy, and the entire Land Use Division for their tireless efforts around the City for All. I vote aye on all except LUs 181 and accompanying Reso 689 and Intro 1128.
Thank you. Marmorato.
I vote aye on all with the exception of M79 and Reso 688, LU 181 with the accompanying Reso 689, and Intro 1127A and 1128A. Thank you.
Marte.
I vote aye on all except LU 181 and Reso 689.
Mealy.
May I explain my vote? So I want to thank the speaker and the whole body, land use, for all that they have done. But I was thinking of I have the most community boards in the whole city, and every last one of them has voted no. And before this was even a major issue, I did numerous meetings with my community. My community is a well-informed community. And to think about it, my district is double parking triple times. And to think now developers have absolute power to not do any parking whatsoever. I feel this body is taking our own power away from ourselves. We can't negotiate with the developers. They can do whatever they want. And then to think about, I asked numerous times, what about houses of worship? If you want to take houses of worship and put it on the back burner, something is wrong with this city. Because we should be founded on some kind of faith to make sure that our houses of worship are taken care of first. So with that, I just said I will be voting on all except 1127A. I vote no on 1128A. And to think about it, I asked the land use numerous times, if we're gonna change our garages into housing, have we talked to the insurance company to see if those little extra adjectives to our homes can be insured? I still have not gotten that information as of yet. Please consider that. I feel we could do better for this city. And I vote, I abstain on M79, Reso 688, no on LU 181, and Reso 689. And I thank everyone who had numerous meetings, but I feel we could do better. And to think about, 12 years ago, I was in office and I put in $3.5 million, and when I came back, they still did not do it.
Your
So
time has
$8
expired on the
million.
floor. Thank you, Councilmember Mealy.
Councilmember Lee, clarification.
Sorry, I gave the wrong number. LU 181, not 161. Thank you.
Thank you. Menon.
Aye on all.
Moya.
I vote aye.
Narcisse.
How would I accept LU 181 and accompanying Reso 689? Thanks.
Thank you. Nurse.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I just want to thank my community members who took the time to wrestle with this very, very challenging proposal. I also want to echo the accolades for land use. You guys are the best. Thank you for coming out to my district and making yourself available for town halls. I want to thank the speaker and her team, Councilmember Sanchez for your leadership, and everybody who worked to really shape and pull together the City for All plan. And just to say that I recognize this process has been very, very difficult for my community, and I acknowledge that at the heart of a lot of their concerns is deep distrust in our government. They don't feel protected from speculation. They don't feel protected from harassment. They don't feel protected from people who want to steal their properties. They don't feel protected from slumlords. And we really need to do more to protect and defend them. And I believe the investment that was secured starts to address these concerns, and we have a lot more to do. But I think it's really a shame to hear some members here today diminish this $5 million investment for our communities as monopoly money. Because while some of those members might see homeowner down payment assistance funding or funding to help elders keep their apartments and their buildings up to code, or free legal support for tenants and homeowners, you might see that as nothing, but I can guarantee that there are people in your districts who damn well need that support. And I think that kind of characterization is foolish. I do want to thank the Base Coalition for their advocacy work and really fighting for the ADUs and basement conversions and helping us take meaningful steps to create safe, habitable basement level apartments. And lastly, I just want to thank my team for helping me navigate this difficult process. I vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Jose.
I vote aye on all.
Palladino.
Permission to explain my vote.
Permission granted.
Well, once again, we're here, and it's the tale of two cities. I'm going to tell you something, we did this wrong. I said it from the beginning. This was like a freight train that got rushed through. I appreciate the hard work and the efforts that the land use committees did. I appreciate the negotiations that happened, but they happened way too late. It's as simple as that. The process was a mess from day one. And then in the final days, last week, 2 weeks ago, we rushed through negotiations and compromises in order to get this passed. I fear that this body is now going to spend years trying to make sense of what we are about to do, with carve-outs and fixes and clarifications, all because we didn't take the time to do this right, or to listen carefully to what the people are telling us. I come from a district in Northeast Queens, and in Queens, as it was earlier stated, 12 out of 14 rejected this particular City of Yes plan. And it's not because anybody here is a NIMBY or they don't want it. That's not it at all. What it is it was not planned properly. For example, infrastructure experts tell us that we can barely sustain housing as it currently exists. Flooding is a major problem in this city. Sewers are overwhelmed as it is, and the electrical grid is at a breaking point. And we continue to strain it even more with the electrification mandates, adding thousands of new households to these systems without first considering local infrastructure which is going to result in a disaster. You know, we've been told we're in a housing crisis. This is not the case. What we have here is an affordability crisis that is not limited just to housing. But adding density isn't going to lower the cost of living. It never has.
Councilmember, your time has expired.
You cannot give me one example of a large city that has gotten more affordable and has gotten less dense. Just does not exist. And there are other ways, but my time is up. But there are ways that we could have fixed this without rushing it through the way we did. I know a lot of hard work went in, but I have to agree with my district and I must vote no. Most definitely no. LU 181 with accompanying Reso 689. M79 with accompanying Reso 688. Intros 1127A. No. 1128A. No. Thank you.
Riley.
Yes.
Please quiet on the floor.
Rivera.
Permission to explain my vote. Permission granted. Thank you. I just want to thank the speaker for being a housing champion, for seeing that all of our neighborhoods are indeed distinct. Countless hours have been put in with our fellow public servants working tirelessly, even before our last vote, to get this right, because all council members were heard and all are deserving of a plan and opportunity to address our collective housing shortage. And to get here, I'm very thankful to City Planning and the Mayor's Office HPD for their collaboration. A very, very special thank you to the City Council team for their hard work during negotiations. We've worked diligently to get to this moment. I'm proudly voting aye in the City of Yes. And we have and must continue to consider that our vacancy rate is less than 1.5%. Rents are at astronomical levels. Working class New Yorkers are telling us they're leaving because of high housing costs and the inability to own and keep their home. And we are on track to lose additional seats in Congress after the next census because of outmigration. We are addressing this now as a City of Yes and the unprecedented investments secured by this council. Rezonings are challenging, believe me, I know, but I believe it's our responsibility to take a much longer view of what our constituents need to survive and thrive now and for future generations. And with this plan, we are addressing the fact that this city is woefully behind in housing production. With this plan, we will produce more housing than all rezonings under the last 2 mayoral administrations. This is the largest housing unit creation in recent history, and the council brought it forward. It is time to move forward to support a city for all. With that, I vote aye on all.
Salam.
Yes.
Shulman.
Permission to explain my vote? Permission granted. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm voting now on LU 181 and accompanying Reso 689, City of Yes. Coming from a working class family, I have been and will continue to be an advocate for affordable housing, and I want to thank the Speaker and the land use staff for the enormous amount of work they did on the modifications to the original plan. I have several reasons for voting no, including the rapid speed in which the proposal was advanced, which from my perspective did not provide enough time for on-the-ground granular interaction with the communities I serve. New York City zoning laws have not been updated since 1961, and while there is great importance to updating the city zoning, the massive implications of any zoning revisions should be heavily weighed and discussed before being finalized. In addition, about 50 years ago, well-known urban planner Robert Moses significantly reshaped the infrastructure and urban landscape of New York City. However, in recent years, it was determined that a lot of the projects implemented by Mr. Moses resulted in fractured neighborhoods, restricted access to open space, and other issues with a negative impact on New Yorkers. Changes made now to the city zoning will be in effect for many years to come, and I want to make sure that 50 years from now, we don't find ourselves in the same position of having to fix unforeseen consequences as we are with regard to what Robert Moses did. While I won't be here in 50 years, my niece and nephew will be, and for them and the many constituents who made their voices loud and clear about the city of Yes, I'm voting no. I am on the rest.
Stevens.
Permission to explain my vote?
Commissioner Benson.
I would like to first start off by saying thank you to the speaker and her team, the land use team, Chair Riley, for all their hard work and everything that they did to get us to this moment today. But today's decision is a challenging one as housing inequalities persist across the city. The promise of City of Yes was to create equity for communities citywide. However, this plan still falls short of that truth today. The housing crisis cannot be addressed with a few districts carrying the burden of building all affordable housing. The West Bronx, specifically District 16, has carried more than its fair share in addressing the city's housing needs. Long before I had the honor of representing District 16, this community consistently stepped up. True equality demands all districts across the city contribute their fair share. However, understanding the complexities addressing New York City housing crisis, I've decided to vote yes. I recognize the halting and advancement of housing development will only deepen this crisis and harm the communities that I fight so hard to serve. However, my vote comes with a commitment that I will continue to fight for genuine equity in housing throughout the city as my time here at City Council. With that, I vote aye on all. Thank you.
Thank you. On.
I vote aye on all except on LU 181 Resolution 689, which I vote. Thank you.
Veronica.
No on LU 181 with accompanying Reso 689. No on intros 1127A and 1120A. And no on M79 and accompanying Reso 688. I am the rest. Thank you.
Thank you. Williams.
Commissioner, to my vote.
Commissioner Benson.
I'll be brief. I just wanted to note that as a result of the modifications, over 70% of my district is exempt from ADUs and TODs, and I just wanted to state that because I think there's a lot of misinformation, and while I truly do value my community, I cannot rest my decisions based off of a lot of misinformation that I even heard here today. And I just want to take this time to really thank again the Land Use Division. I wanted to call them out by name, Paris, Brian, and Arthur, who has been fielding tons of my questions and concerns for over the last year. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you helping me to understand what we're voting on today. And so with quite difficulty, because this was not an easy choice, this is not an easy vote, it's a very difficult vote. So with difficulty, I vote aye on all. Thank you.
One.
I vote aye on all, except I gotta take time to thank Penina Sanchez, the hardest working pregnant mom out here who has been working her butt off to see this through. So I give her a big shout out, she's almost due, and thank you to Ralph, the speaker, and everybody else. Thank you.
Yeager.
Madam President, may I be excused to explain my vote?
Commissioner Benson.
Thank you very much. Well, my time is coming to a conclusion here. The last 6 years, 11 months, 5 days, I've had the privilege of sitting in the same seat and a chance from time to time to look up at the top where President Lincoln's words, government of the people, for the people, for the people. And, you know, I think about that. We are representative of the communities that we serve, and we're here, and we are of and by the people, but we're also supposed to be for the people. It's for the people that we represent. And today, as I sit here, the 3 council members who represent parts of the district that I will be serving when I travel a little bit north all voted no today. They come from very different and diverse political backgrounds and parties, but they all voted no over myself and all of us. Because we know our neighborhoods. And we know that you can't build your communities by building us together with the rest of the city. It just can't be done. I've said this many, many times. The idea that we don't build housing because we didn't pass City of Yes, it's just not truthful. As Madam Speaker indicated earlier, just in the last couple of years, we've passed and built or approved 27,000 units of housing here in this council. Thousands of units of housing get built every single year. And at every single meeting of this body, we approve zoning changes. We can approve zoning changes when they're done intelligently, in consultation with our community, where the council member can go and look at the plot of land and say, that makes sense or that doesn't make sense. That's how you build your city. You do it by community, community by community by community. Not a bunch of folks come down to Lower Manhattan and decide by fiat how the rest of the city is going to be. I can't vote yes on something that's going to, in my estimation, destroy the city. I do have renewed faith in humanity, though, that so many of my colleagues do believe that $5 billion is actually real. It's phantom because it's not budgeted. It's not allocated. It's not appropriated. That's why it's phantom. So I vote no on LU 181 and Resolution 689, as I am required to do by the people who hired me to be in this body. I vote no on Intro 1127 and 1128, and I will abstain on M79 and Reso 688. While I do understand that attorneys represent the interests of their clients and they take guidance from their clients, in this case the administration, I can't give the Corporation Council my vote in light of my fundamental disagreement with the legal positions that she's taken. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Zhuang.
I own all except land use 181 and Reso 689, and I want to vote abstain on M79 Reso 688.
Thank you. Borelli.
I own all except land use 181, 689, M79, the Reso 688, intro 1127A and 1128A. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Farias.
I vote aye on all, and for the public and the press, my statement will be online.
Speaker Adams.
Aye.
It's going through, guys. It's going through. They got enough votes. They have enough votes. I mean, just what it is. They got enough votes. It's going through, guys. I'm sorry to say it. You know what I mean? I didn't want to come into that, but whatever. I'll board. It's going through. No. It's going through. Like. Yeah, it's going through, guys. And they have a press conference with the governor after this. Right after this is a press conference with the governor of New York. So
All items on today's general order calendar are adopted by a vote of 51 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, with the exception of M79 and Resolution 688, which was adopted by a vote of 41 in the affirmative, 7 in the negative, and 3 abstentions, and LU 181 with accompanying Reso 689, which was adopted by a vote of 31 in the affirmative, 20 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, and introduction 1127A, which was adopted by a vote of 41 in the affirmative, 10 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, and introduction 1128A, which was adopted by a vote of 40 in the affirmative, 11 in the negative, and 0 abstentions. We will now, moving on to the agenda, introduction and reading of bills. Speaker?
All bills have been referred to committee as indicated on today's agenda.
Thank you. There are no resolutions on today's calendar, so we will now move into general discussion, and I'd like to recognize Councilmember Williams, followed by Marte, Caban, and Nurse.
All right, so it went through, guys.
Keep it down, folks. Keep it down. We're not done yet. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to quickly acknowledge students who are here from CUNY Hostos as the political science.
Sorry, Councilmember, can we pause the conference vote? Folks, if you're in the chambers, you have to leave quietly. Thank you. You can continue, Councilmember Williams.
Thank you so much, Majority Leader. I just wanted to quickly acknowledge CUNY Hostos Community College class. It's a political science, American government course. They're here today with Professor Chang, Mikel, Adienia, Biagiata, and Dofi are all here today. They've been here all day listening to us. When I was a fellow in my grad program, I got to spend some time at Hostos. I know Hostos is located in Councilmember Salamanca's office, so I just wanted to shout him out and thank the students for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. What a great day to come see government in action. Recognizing Councilmember Caban, followed by Nurse.
Thank you. Today I have the privilege of introducing a resolution alongside a number of my career colleagues that honors the late, great Cecilia Gentili. I've said this before, but Cecilia was everything and she did it all. She was a fearless leader, a trans icon, an author, an actress, a pioneering advocate for the dignity and freedom of sex workers, and so much more. And especially at a time where we are going to see the ramping up of the oppression, the repression, and the discrimination against not just queer people, but other already marginalized identities, I think about her more and more. And I'm not alone in that. We did our, meetings in every single borough, yes, including Staten Island, meeting with queer folks and organizations and social workers and academics and advocates and community members. And there wasn't a single one of these conversations where her name wasn't brought up. We go out to actions, we meet with queer community members who are just trying to take care of each other and protect one another, and her name and her spirit and her impact always comes up, and that's pretty incredible. I know that there were plenty of people who brought her spirit and her energy to DC just yesterday when Queens' own first out trans lawyer argued in front of the Supreme Court.
All right, so it looks like Yimby left.
She was
I'm leaving.
unabashedly about just justice in general, and her energy was infectious. She was probably funny and sharp. She was unapologetically herself and loved the way that she came in hard with just stand release everything.
All right, take care, bro.
Always
Take care.
the truth. And I love the joy and the love that she brought to the other people in the world. I really miss her. And I think that
Folks, just wait for the elevator. The stairs are not open right now.
Damn, you doing
Wait for the elevator.
Sorry about that, guys. So yeah, it went through. CES went through. I gotta go uptown.
Once this is over, then I'm very impressive.
Yeah, with the governor. The governor and the mayor. Hey, sir.
The push notification.
So, I need to get that locked up and stuff. Oh, yeah. So, sorry about that, guys. So, yeah, they're going to sign that bill here, guys. This mayor is, like, ready for that shit. Really ready. It's crazy. But it's all right. It's what it is. Can you do it? So yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, it went through. I mean, Godonic said all these politicians are here, so they have it. It's good. I mean, it happens. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go uptown. Yeah, they party and shit over there. Yeah, man. All the politicians over there, they got this shit. Damn. But I'm gonna cut this off. So, as of, let's see what time is it? 4:57. This shit is off. So, I gotta go uptown, go take some shots, get the fuck out of here. Boom.